I just wanted to show a little funny little effect we've got going on here. So you see I'm measuring the temperature there. It's turned off. 21. Tell me it's about 20. The sensor's just there under that clamp. Everything's pretty much idle. I'm just going to turn the preamp up. When you get to around 24 to 26 volts, it's a nice safe level without overdriving it. So there we go. So that amp's working. Only about half a watt coming out of that, maybe 1 watt peak. Still cool. And that's still telling me, yeah. Oh no, look, see, we've got a little jump there somewhere. 24 around there. It's still idle. Hardly any power coming out. So that amp's off. So it's not really picking up anything. So I'll start to drive it. This is just to control the gain. So I don't need much voltage here, just need a little bit of current. The main power supply is actually what drives this, but so by the time I get to 6 volt, that's working hard. What's that saying? Oh, it's only about 16, 17 watts. Yeah, 16, 18 watts I've seen there. Yeah, this temperature's going to start to go up, 21. Let me take some measurements. Look at that. Do you see that? 109, 110, 100. Oof, oof. But look, it's cold to touch. It's not 110. That is radio frequency interference. That high power amp needs to be inside a metal earth cage, like a Faraday cage. There's a lot of RFI escaping off that board. Not all of it is going out and down. Well, the antenna's just there anyway. So I'm kind of inside this shed. I'm being covered with radio frequency, electromagnetic radiation at the moment. Anyway, so there we are. We're climbing up 27. It does get quite hot, this board. You know, I've got to figure out a way to cool it, but that is wrong. That is not right at all. This is just laser. Well, really, it's infrared. So that's not interfering with the actual light. That's interfering with the circuitry inside this. So it's giving me a false reading. This is accurate. This is just an analog signal going through there. It's like a, I think it's an LM352, very common little temp sensor. So it's barely warm to touch. Not too bad. But the temperature's still climbing. And we're still at about, there you go, between 14.5 and 17.8 watts, roughly. This is not even halfway. 10 volt would be halfway. I'm barely registering 10 milliamp going through. That's the gate gain, which is sort of setting the gain for the actual power amp, which is this part here. It's a 360 watt power supply up there feeding this. And again, low. It's supposed to be 32 volt. I've got it running at like 24. I've had it up to 28. I don't need that much power. And let me just take a fine adjustment there. We'll go up to 7 volts if I can get it up there. Just that little bit more makes a big difference. Temperature's starting to go up. What are we getting there? 22, 23 watts coming out, roughly. Temperature is going up, not too bad. But again, if I take a reading, yeah, 132, right. Yeah, right. No, it's more like that. Yeah, a little warm. Hold your finger there for a few seconds, it almost feels like hot. So it's getting there. But we are starting to drive it pretty hard. But again, not even halfway. Yeah, not even halfway. 85 milliamp would be peaking. You see, I'm not even at 25% of its power. Even the preamp's down a little. You know, I could sort of push that to 28 if I want. Look, I know I'm getting 500 milliwatt RMS out of that now at 26.5. Now we're climbing up there. There's not much power though. So what are we getting there? Between 22, 23 watts. That's all we're and it's still climbing. It's still climbing. Let's have a look. Go a little harder. Simple. I can even smell a bit of heat now. Yeah, that's overdriven. Look, we've lost power. Turn that down. Give me 24 volts. I'm driving it too hard. Ooh, just cracking on 60. Down to 19. That's really all I'm looking for, 20 watt. You know, 19, 20 watt. If I can keep it at that, I'll be happy. I don't think so. She's climbing away. With 2 fans trying to keep it cool. Right. Drive it down a little bit, bring it back down to 6. Which is less than 10 milliamp. I can feel the heat off this thing, I really can. It's quite hot. Down to 15 watt, because the preamp's right down. We're going to hit 70 degrees. I just can't keep this thing cool. You can see that. This camera's not working properly, but yeah, this is I mean, it's working really good, but woof, there's a lot of thermal energy I need to dissipate off this, and I'm having a hard time doing it. So if I pull it down a bit more, let's go down. That's off. Look, that's off. Just feel that heat. Wow. All the heat from the underneath is intense. Really, that is hot down there. Now that amp off, I bet you this is going to work again. There you go, it's going to give me real readings. Yeah. No, it's actually not. That's saying it's 60, this says it's 29, whatever. Definitely does not feel like 29, that is more like 60. That is quite hot. So I'm still getting inaccuracies off this laser. So I'll just turn the preamp all the way off. Try and take another measurement. Yeah, a bit more accurate, but still not really. Not really. Big difference. Don't know how much I trust these things now anymore. Too easy to interfere with them. Down to nothing. And it's just so hot. The heat under here. Whew. let's just put this back on idle. Actually, let's just get it back going. So I'll keep it at 25. I know 6 volt here will give me 10 milliamp. That's about my minimum just to get it to drive. So let's just nice and gentle, not too much, just, oh, there we go. 6. And what do we get now? Between 10 and 12 watt. Let's see if that starts going up or down. No, this should be a 26 if I want to get the full half watt out of that. Yeah, about 26.5. Oh, too much back there. There we go. That's about close enough. What do we get now? Still 10 to 13. So we've gone up about 1 watt on the output just by giving me, you know, an extra 1.5 volt there. Sort of going down from 47 before. Trying to find that stable place where it's going to be happy. I really want 20 watt. Although really, just even to get 10 for a digital TV signal, it's very hard to amplify. It's huge. 7 megahertz wide signal. And this is actually a 1080p signal that I'm pumping out. See that little TV over there? And not even an antenna connected, just a coax cable hanging over the top. That no video screen is the actual signal I'm broadcasting. That's not the TV saying there's no signal. That's actually the signal from here. And, you can see up there, signal strength's full, high, quality's good. Sort of stable there at 45 degrees. Stable there at, still peaking at 13, 10.9 to 13.5. Not bad. But this thing, for a 300 watt amplifier, I'm barely even using it. I'll go up half a volt to 6. Look at that. I can already see that jumping up. It's already starting to work. But look at the difference. Now that's between 19 and 24. It's like a 10 watt jump just by feeding an extra 0.5 volt into the bias in there inside that board. And there's that 24 volt supply up the top there that's actually powering this thing. So that thing's only using, look, 420 milliamp on that. That's a little baby amp, little preamp really. That used to be my main amp, but not anymore. Now it's just a preamp. I managed to overdrive that once to get 3 watt out of it, and geez, it ran hot. But that's stable now. And this is stable. The thing with digital TV, if you start to overdrive it, you can get a lot of modulation, get lots of errors in there. Even though you got more power and you're pushing the signal out further, what's the point? If it's just constantly breaking up, you know, and everyone's getting a crappy reception out of it. So there we are, 24.4, sort of peaking. But that temperature's, I don't think it's going to hold at 50. I bet you it's going to start jumping up. If I could keep it at 50. You know, but it's a cold day. The aircon is on in here. Ambient temperature is 20.4 Celsius. So look, I'm already at like 31 degrees above room temperature. On a hot day, this garage can, you know, crack into 30, 35. If I had this thing running, it would just fry. I don't know how I'm going to keep this thing cool. I really don't. It's just, I mean, I love it. It's such a good amp. But nice and stable. 23.6, 24.4. It's actually a little bit more than that. You see that set at 433. This little device only has a bunch of limited fixed frequencies they can read in. It's either 433 or 868. These are designed for like remote control, you know, airplanes, drones, things like that for testing. I'm actually wanting a signal, I think it's at a 528.5, is it, or 529.5 megahertz. So it is actually more than that. I know it's a little bit more than that, I know it's a little bit off. Kind of stable, but not really. Still needs to be cooler. Definitely needs to be cooler. So I think that's going to slowly go up. If I was trying to run this for a few hours at a time, it's just going to keep slowly going up. By the way, you shouldn't have actually do this. That's a little 2.15 gain, flat really, Z0 dB gain, omnidirectional, sitting right there on the floor. The inside of my little shack in here is completely saturated with electromagnetic frequencies at the moment. Probably all my devices in here are probably freaking out a little bit, this sort of power going through them. Yeah, look at that, 56, going to hit 57. It'll go to 60, it'll go to 70, it'll overheat. I'm pretty confident. Well, look, overall, last couple of days I'm satisfied, very successful. All I need to do is cool this thing down, because it is hot as hell in there. Really hot. And underneath there especially. There's not enough airflow. Oh well. I'll figure something out and I'll let you guys know what I come up with.